Hey nice people, how you doing? So, following on from the previous video in which we showed that the Irish Ogham code, Ogham writing system, can be used on this Shigur idol, quite possibly, I thought, well, why leave the people hanging? Why not plug in the values and let's see how we go? And let's try and find the language of the Shigur idol, which is on the left, 11,000 years old. Now, this is not an easy task. We can't even read ancient Egyptian properly. Try reading a translation of any ancient Egyptian text. It's repetitive gibberish, which sort of tells us they haven't got all the slangs and nuances correct. So what we've done here to show that this is quite very similar to this is simply to look at it. At the start and the end of the text, we have lines just like we see at the start and the end of the texts in the Irish system. And just as a refresher, you're saying, why would an Irish language be in Central Asia or East Asia? This is from Siberia. Well, the answer is that the Irish claim that their ancient archaeologists went to the Tower of Babel and found this sacred language. And we've made videos about this, saying it's similar to DNA code, it's similar to a computer language, because you assemble stacks of energy as bytes to make letters. It's quite interesting. And you see something quite similar here. So that is actually the end of the text in Irish there, that symbol. So we would be reading downward. Or would we be reading upwards? Now, I reckon it makes more sense to read downwards, but who knows? Now, when you're plugging in the letters, it's not so easy. It's really not so easy because although this is clearly the same language, this language is clearly an Asian language, clearly the same script, you got difficulties because, for example, these lines running across, do they mean these letters, or do they mean these letters? The lines running down, it doesn't matter. They can be symmetrical on an axis. It doesn't particularly matter whether this is flipped around to the right or flipped around to the left. It's the same letter. So what I did, I plugged in some letters, and this is the most promising thing here. So we have an R. Now, I was thinking, is that a ring? On the Svetovid idol, there is actually a figure wearing a ring. The Lord of the Rings, basically. And we'll look at him later in another video, but probably not. Ring isn't even ring in Old English. It's more like a word like bag or bag. It's a different word, and it's different in every language. One word that I like that is a possible word is at this so-called Midgard level of the totem pole, Roy. Roy is obviously royal, and Raj is it's been in India for thousands and thousands of years. So this word has been in Asia, and that is the most promising word I have here. So in the top part of the totem pole, we have this rung, and then we have and we don't know if this is an F or a T because of the differences. So is this an oifoi or oitoi, and you see this is an oi here with this sort of symbol, and we encounter difficulties. For example, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we don't have anything going up to 7. So are these letters stacked together here? I don't know. The cross is an ear. It's there. So down the bottom we have a cross, an almost swastika-like pattern, or is it simply an end of text symbol that we find down there? It's just so interesting. And inside the lozenge itself, we have what appears to be just the staff vanishes, and we just have lines in the middle. I think that is a vowel. For one, the lozenge is two vowels. It's a diphthong vowel, oi. But in addition, because that is a simpler form of doing it on a staff, so it probably refers to, I think, these, just a centered version. So I've put the I, because it refers to I, in brackets. These here, with a staff, are probably one of the consonants. And as you see, they're weighted differently on each side, just like these are weighted differently on each side. The staff line is never in the middle. Even this guy's forehead can be construed as a Z. This is packed with writing, the Z as we see here. Even that's another letter there. Now, I don't know if anyone can read this or attempt to read this. Is anyone from Siberia? Is any on a native Siberian? And there are different languages we can try. So how about Ainu? And imagine the ancient Egyptians, but and they even carry the ark around, but with a bear instead of a snake. And are they a lost Hebrew tribe? This strange people in Japan. And if you look at their writing, does that remind you of anything? That is a lot. It's a staff-oriented language, just as this, possibly as the Irish claimed is from Asia, is a staff-oriented language. That's so fascinating. The EU looks like it's linear, like the AE. So we have some linear diphthongs here, just like they have linear diphthongs as well. And this is incredible. This is a syllabic script they're using, and as you see again, there's always a vertical. There's a vertical in every letter. It's like it's a staff-oriented language. There's more possibilities. So we need to go to the oldest Ainu dictionary we can find to have a clue of deciphering the Shiga idol. Or do we take, for example, the Uyghurs? And these people are in the news lately. It looks like they're trying to have some kind of autonomy, and that's obviously clashing with the communism, as it would. Now, looking at these people, to me, these look a lot like the people you find in Colombia, who are of course, a mixture of Europe and the Native Americans, who are, of course, from Asia. From East Asia in ancient times. Possibly they came over from China and they became the Olmecs, and that founded civilization in the Americas. And these people, if you look at their language, look at the vowels and look at the consonants, there's a vertical in every single. This is almost like the Ogham again. There we go. Look, if that's not a similarity, what is? So clearly the Irish language is from Asia. Just looking at the Uyghur language, it is very much like the Ainu language, and I think these people actually look quite similar in appearance. And I guess they're a Turk. You call them a Turkic people. Who are the Turks? I really can't define who the Turks are. They're because they're over such a wide area, but they had big empires in this area. So. Now let's compare. So Japanese, it's like the vertical staff has become curled and more attenuated, but the Ainu language, it retains the vertical staff. So you see these people are the Central Asian people. Chinese, again, China as well, actually has a vertical staff. And do you notice it's all to one side of the staff. It's all this side of the staff, or the letters on this side of the staff, or the letters on... actually, the staff seems to be on the right hand of all these letters. But it's a staff-oriented language, just like that. So you look at Wikipedia. It says this language comes out of the runes. Obviously, this isn't even really much of an alphabet, to be honest. It's not an alphabetic at all. Yes, each symbol refers to a letter rather than a syllable, but it could have been a syllabic script in an earlier version. And there are more letters than this. This is only one version of OM. There are actually a lot more letters. It's quite complicated. These are approaching Asian Chinese signs down here. What's going on? That's what we say on this channel. I hope you've enjoyed this. This is literally a decipherment. And this is the oldest language. This is older than the Uyghur. This is older than the Ainu. We know that because this was claimed to be found by archaeologists in ancient ruins, copied and brought to Ireland. What do you think of that? Try reading it to me. Cheers.